Yeah, I'm here again, and today with a review of the STI. And the reason I'm going to review the STI today is because I've nearly got the IS-4, which is the next tank in the tech tree after the STI. So I'm soon going to sell the STI to be able to buy the IS-4, and that's why I'm going to review it now, so that I don't have to buy it later sometime to review it. And yeah, I've been playing this tank for quite a while. If we check servers record, it's the tank I've been playing the most games with. I had 500 games, nearly 500 games in it, and now, and I really enjoy playing this tank. This is the tank, except for tier 10 tanks I've played the test server. This is the tank I've till now enjoyed playing the most. So yeah, let's have a look at it. I'll start off by reviewing the stats of the STI. Its hit points are 1,900. That's quite a lot. It's kind of at the upper end of the tier 9 heavy tanks. Like, say, the IS-8 has only got 1,800 HP. The only tier 9 heavy tank that has more HP than the STI is the German E75, and it's only got 50 HP more. So, yeah, 1,900 HP is pretty good. The weight of the STI is 60 to 64 tons, and that isn't a lot, especially considering this is a tier 9 heavy tank. You get this tank after playing the IS-4, and the IS-4 has got a weight of about 80 tons, so you're used to a lot more mass, and it takes quite a while to adapt to this lower weight, because you can't do things like, say, ramming as easily anymore than you could in the KV4. And it's actually a pretty unusual thing that you move up to a higher tier and your tank has got less weight. But yeah, it isn't really a big deal, you know. After a few games, you've understood that you shouldn't be ramming anymore, and then that's okay. The engine power is 650 horsepower on the stock engine, but as you can see, I haven't built in the tier 9 engine. The reason I didn't do that is because if you look at the characteristics of the two engines, the tier 8 engine, the stock engine, has got 650 horsepower, and the tier 9 engine has got 700 horsepower, so that's only 50 horsepower difference. That isn't really worth the 23,000 experience. So I decided not to get the motor, and of course, if you've got the better motor, your tank's going to be a bit more maneuverable and a bit faster. It's going to excel a bit faster, but it won't make that much a difference. So I just didn't get the better motor, and yeah, it won't differ all that much. So yeah, 650 or 700 horsepower isn't all that great for a 60 to 64 ton machine, which means that this tank will be pretty slow, will feel pretty slow, especially while going up hills or dealing with difficult terrain. On paper it says that it can do 40 kilometers per hour, but on the battlefield it will usually be moving at somewhere between 20 and 30 kilometers. So you only ever reach these 40 kilometers when going down a hill, really. So yeah, just don't count on that. The traverse speed of the STI is okay. It's nothing great, but it's not good really, but it's, you know, it's okay. It does the job. 24 degrees per second. It's okay. Next we come to the armor, and the armor is pretty interesting on the STI. The hull is kind of the main weak spot with this tank, because it's only got 140 millimeters on the front. Now it's angled pretty well, at least the upper glaciers is angled very well, but the lower glaciers isn't, and it isn't the biggest target in the world to hit, but it's still there, and a lot of people will be aiming for this plate here, and if you hit it, you're gonna penetrate it every single time. As for the upper glaciers, you're gonna get more ricochets from that, but 140 millimeters still isn't that much, so don't rely on this plate protecting you. On the sides, your hull armor is 140 millimeters, which is a lot for the sides of the tank. And if you look carefully on the sides, here you've got this kind of, I don't really know what this is supposed to be, but you've got something here, some kind of beam. I don't know what it is, but on the other side you've got these two boxes, and if you hit on one of these boxes or on this beam here, they act as spaced armor, so that increases the chance of ricochet as well. The back is 100 millimeters, but the back's angled very well, so that's you get surprisingly much ricochets from this area as well, especially if you're hit in this place, like somewhere around here. Then a lot of shots are going to ricochet. The turret armor is a lot better. This is the turret armor is the main point where this tank excels. The front of the turret is 250 millimeters thick. That's amazing. That's the best armor you will get on any tier 9 tank. 250 millimeters, and look at the angling from the front. This tank's turret is impenetrable. The gun mantle is pretty big, and everything will ricochet from the gun mantle as well. So if you can hide your hull behind a hill or something like that and just let your turret peek out, that's really good, because every single shot's gonna ricochet from this turret. So yeah, try to look out for those kind of opportunities on maps and in the terrain. There's one big weak spot on the turret, which is this this area up here, especially this hatch here, this commander's hatch. So if you're in close-up combat, most people which can't reach your lower glaciers plate are going to aim up here. So the two main weak spots from the front is right at the bottom and right at the top. The sides of the turret are 160 millimeters as well as the back, and that's a lot. For sides and back, that's really a lot. So even if you don't expect it and the enemies don't expect it, a lot of shots are going to ricochet from your side and back of a turret. And I think this is a bit absurd, because the back of your turret actually has got more armor than the front of your hull. I don't see the sense in that at all, but it can be useful in some situations. Although, to tell you the truth, I'd rather have 40 millimeters less armor on the back of my turret and therefore have 40 millimeters more on the front, but it isn't like that, so you just have to live with the tank the way it is. Next comes the gun. You can have 3 different guns on the STI. Your stock gun is the best gun of the IS. It's the 122D25T. It's a very good gun on the IS and the KV3, which are tier 7 tanks, but it really sucks on this tier 9 tank. It's real torture getting up to this gun through this gun, because it's just the penetration potential is really bad. I mean, the damage is okay, but the penetration just isn't enough. It's got 170 to 217 penetration. That's no way enough to penetrate the armor of the tanks you'll be facing in the STI. So if you've got any free experience left or something like that, make sure to quickly research this gun. You don't have to research the tracks to be able to fit this gun. You can just straight away go for this gun, and then you'll be relieved of this one here, because it's just really no fun at all. This is the 122mm BL9. That's a pretty good gun. It's the gun that the IS-3, it's the top gun of the IS-3, but that's a bit of a shame because the KV-4 hasn't got that gun. It's got the other gun, it's got the 107mm gun. And then if you haven't researched the IS-3 yet, then you'll have to research this gun from scratch. So if you've already got the IS-3, that's not a problem, but as I haven't got the IS-3 yet, that is a bit of a shame for me, because I spent about 3 weeks playing with this gun and it really got on my nerves. So I was really happy when I at last got this gun, which is okay. And then when I got to this gun, the 122mm M62 T2, it's just amazing. This gun is so good. I really love this weapon. I just look at the stats. The rate of fire is 4.5 to 5 rounds per minute. That's kind of average for a tier 9 heavy tank. It's nothing special, nothing great, but it will do. You have to reload about 12 seconds in between shots. Your average penetration is about 300. It's 270 to 400, and that's the point where this gun really excels for penetration. I think this is the gun within the tier with the most penetration, except for TD guns, of course. So yeah, that's really good penetration. The damage is average for a tier 9 or for a tier 10 gun on a tier 9 tank. It's nothing special, but it's good enough. It will do. The accuracy is 0.38mm is okay. Yeah, it's enough really. It's nothing snipey or something like that, but it will do you well on medium and close range. Now, the point where this gun really is really bad in is the aiming time. 2.9 to 3.4 seconds. That's really long. That's almost that's, you know, you sit there and wait for your gun to aim for 1, 2, 3, and then it's reloaded. So that's far too long. That can be really annoying in battle situations. But that's my only kind of beef with this gun. The rest is pretty good. And now we've only got 3 stats left, which are turret traverse speed, view range, and signal range. The turret traverse speed is really bad on this tank. It's 18 degrees per second. That's far too slow. If you don't turn your hull along with the turret, then that's far too long. It can be really frustrating in a battle sometimes if you're being circled by a light or a medium tank, and even tanks like a IS-8 or such can perform a carousel maneuver around you because of that bad traverse speed. The view range, 380 meters, is okay. It's not super good, but it's not bad really. It's just like average for a tier 9 heavy tank. And the signal range is 730 meters. That's good. You know, it's just a standard signal range. You can just kind of signal over more or less the whole map. So that's for the stats. And yeah, let's see how this tank performs in battle. and we're in an encounter battle in Himmelsdorf, and this game will be really disappointing. As you can see in the mini-map, nearly our complete team is heading down that middle street. Some of us are going for the base, but nearly nobody is going on the hill. And you don't have to be a genius to figure out that the hill is the place where the encounter battles in Himmelsdorf are decided. So it won't come as a surprise to you that we're going to lose this game, especially as this T95 from our team is AFK, so that means we're lacking one tier 9 tank. So yeah, I stay here and try to hide my hull behind this hill and only let my turret peek out. But yeah, we're just being overrun here. There's STI there, and there's E75 to my right, and there you could just see how great the penetration of my gun is. Okay, that was a stock STI, so his turret wasn't as good as mine yet, but I all the same penetrated him easily through the front. And there I got a nice shot to the E75, made 400 damage, and now at last the T95 is online, but he won't help us all that much because we're just being overrun here, as I said. So I bounce off the E75 because of the angle, and yeah, now they all come and crowd in, and you don't really stand a chance. So I try to shoot at his lower glaciers, but somehow I miss, I don't know why, and then I decide to help us T95, although he's kind of done for anyway. But yeah, so I get a good shot into the Lorraine, 450 damage about, and I try to draw back so that they can only shoot at my front, but of course the Lorraine's faster, and I'm just being outflanked, and this is just a really sad situation. This team's so poor. Oh god, look at this. I'm fighting alone against 5 different enemy tanks. That's hopeless. So if anybody of you guys are watching who were in my team, just what the fuck were you thinking of while you were playing? I mean, if you've got no idea how to play this game, I don't see how you can enjoy playing it. Just please next time don't enter a battle with me, because it's just really hopeless, okay? I hope the next game I'll show you will be a bit better. Our second game is a standard battle on Wide Park, and I've headed for his bridge, and there's this IS-2, so I think I can easily get him. But my first shot, I miss him, and yeah, this guy really gets on my nerves because I can't hit him one single time. That's really sad. I could have killed him now, but I ricochet from a tier 7 tank with this gun. That is normal. So I actually wanted to show you how good this gun is, and of course, just when I want to do that, I ricochet, but usually this gun performs a lot better. So now I try to get a shot of that Jagdpanther, and I ricochet as well. Now, as I said, this really isn't usual with this gun. Normally I would have penetrated him and easily done up to 500 HP damage. So now I decide to go on this other side of the bridge to help this Type 59 here, because he's dealing with a Ferdinand, and well, okay, the T21's dead now, but he's still dealing with Ferdinand. There's an E75 back there. So now this is a very, very good place to go with a STI, because you can very easily hide your turret without, hide the lower glaciers and expose your turret, so that your enemies can only shoot at your turret, and then they'll ricochet probably. So I'm a bit scared of that E75 up there, because he's got the best gun on him. So I'm kind of going back up the hill now because the Type 59's dead. And I track the Ferdinand and keep on retreating up this hill. And the E75's coming out, and from this distance I can't really aim so well for the low glaciers of the E75, so I'm kind of a bit helpless against him. So I'm waiting for the Ferdinand to poke his nose out, and of course just when I decide that it isn't worthwhile anymore, he does. So I've retreated behind this kind of railway dam, and now as the Ferdinand comes up front again, I drive out to shoot him. So I ricochet from his upper hull, that's very heavily armoured of course. So I keep on pressing him and aim for his lower glacis. And do 400 damage. So I retreat to reload. But I think my reload time's not as long as the reload time of him, so I come back up and shoot him. So my first kill. And now the E75 is coming round again, so I go back. So we're winning the game, at least it seems so at the moment. IS-2's down back there. So now I realise that the E75 actually has retreated again, so I decide to push a bit, and I go for the Jagdpanzer. So he's only got 200 HP left, and I finish him off. So the E75's gone as well. So now there's only this IS-8 left at the enemy base. So there are only 2 tier 7 tanks there to deal with him, so they obviously won't be able to kill him. So that's why I move in. And the RT tracks him, so I get a very nice shot into his back and do almost 550 damage. Yeah, so that was kind of an average game in the STI. My usual average game is a bit better, but this like kind of where the average game usually is, like about 2 or 3 kills in every game. Yeah, so back to the garage. Yeah, so of course it takes a few games to get used to the STI, but you know, once you've kind of mastered it and understood how to play it, and once you've kind of passed the stock equipment and got to your better guns and so on, then this tank is real enjoyable. As for the research, I'm just going to give you some quick advice. You start off with this equipment, so you've got the Top Gun for IS, which is really bad, and the rest of your stock equipment kind of sucks as well. So you can research this gun here without having to research for tracks. It's the same gun as on the IS-3, so you know, if you've already got the IS-3, you won't have to research this, so just fit it. You can do that without researching for tracks. Do that first. After that, you have to research for tracks in order to be able to fit other modules. Now, as you can see, I haven't researched for tracks. The reason I didn't have to do that is because I bought this equipment here. It's enhanced torsion bars, so that allows me to avoid researching for tracks. That's pretty useful. So you have to decide if you rather want to spend 25,000 experience on the tracks and 65,000 credits, or if you rather want to spend 500,000 credits on that equipment. So I decided for the equipment, and I didn't really regret it, because you see, this gun's okay, but it's not great, and having this gun is a huge improvement. So after you've researched the tracks or fitted the equipment, get the turret, because the turret really increases your health. It gives you 100 HP more, and it increases your frontal armor a lot. That's really good, having this turret. And after that, get the gun. This gun is so great. I really love this gun. So the gun's like kind of the first thing you should be aiming at. And after that, you can get the motor. You don't have to really. I mean, it's not, as I said, it's not really necessary because it's only 50 horsepower more. But this tank will never be very maneuverable or fast, and that's just kind of the main drawback with this tank. It's always going to be slow and accelerate slow, turn slowly, that kind of stuff. You won't be able to improve that, certainly not with 50 horsepower more, so you can kind of forget the better motor. It's not worthwhile spending 23,000 experience on it. And then you've usually already got the R113 radio researched. If you haven't, of course, it's a nice thing to have. Let's see, its signal range 730, from before 625, so that's 100 meters more signal range. That's worthwhile getting, and it can be very useful because this tank is a kind of a close-up fighting tank. So if you're on the front tier, and then you can give the positions of the tanks you're fighting to your arty, and you can get like kind of scout experience for that. That's pretty useful. So having a good radio is never a bad idea. And then of course after that comes the IS-4. So as for the crew, you should first of all train repair skill on all of your crew, and after you've done that, I would swap it for Brothers in Arms, because Brothers in Arms is pretty good in this tank because it helps to keep the reload time and the aiming time of the gun down. And yeah, it's just, you know, Brothers in Arms is never a bad idea on a heavy tank. Then after that, after you've swapped repair for Brothers in Arms, train repair again, because repair is the most important skill on this tank, definitely is. So yeah, get repair, and you should consider swapping it for Sixth Sense with a commander. I'm going to do that as soon as I've got 100% of repair on my commander, because Sixth Sense is very useful as well. And after that, for the commander, I would train repair again. So that means for the commander, you've got, for the gunner, get first of all Brothers in Arms again, then repairs, and after that the choice is yours. I would recommend you to get Snapshot. Although this thing doesn't turn that fast and doesn't drive that fast, Snapshot and Smooth Ride for the driver afterwards, that's what you should get for the driver as third skill, are useful because the aiming time of the gun is really bad. So so that's really good to have. Yeah, the loaders, let's see. Yeah, I aren't really a great fan of the skills of a loader, so let's see. Maybe Adrenaline Rush might be a good idea, because with this tank you're fighting pretty close up, so you're gonna lose hit points pretty fast, and I'm more often down to 10% of my hit points in this tank than in other tanks. So if you have to decide for one of these skills, get Adrenaline Rush. Otherwise, firefighting might not be a bad idea to get with your two loaders, because this tank burns pretty often. That's something I realised. The motor has only got a chance of catching fire of 15%, but over time it burns astonishingly often. So you just have to see, if you find that you burn too often, get firefighting. But I would recommend Adrenaline Rush, especially because if you burn, you usually use your hand firefighter and you don't really need firefighting. So yeah, I would recommend Adrenaline Rush, although, as I said, the abilities of the loader and skills and so on, they aren't that great. So as for equipment, you should definitely get improved ventilation, especially if you've trained Brothers in Arms, because it just again buffs for your reload time and aiming time of the gun and so on. So that's a good thing to have, improved ventilation. You should get the large caliber tank gun rammer. That's very useful. And then for the last skill, you can decide between a vertical stabilizer, or the other thing I'd recommend to you is enhanced gun lane drive. But I would prefer the vertical stabilizer, because the effect of the two is more or less the same. It keeps down your aiming time. This doesn't make your aiming circle as inaccurate while on the move, so that means after you've stopped you don't have to aim as long, and this just increases your aiming speed. But all in all, this is a lot better. I would get this, especially because for IS4, when you upgrade to the IS4 and you want to dispatch this equipment from the STI and put it on the IS4, then your vertical stabilizer will help even more, because the IS4 is a bit more speedy than this thing. So yeah, that's better. So for equipment, improved ventilation, large caliber tank gun rammer, and vertical stabilizer. As for the consumables, of course, I would recommend to you the manual fire extinguisher, small repair kit, small first aid kit. Of course, if you've got a lot of money and you like to spend on World of Tanks, you can get some better things like, say, a large repair kit or stuff like that for gold. But like, if you're kind of a standard player like me, get these three things, like just for standard equipment. As for tactics in this tank, as I already mentioned, it's kind of a brawling tank. It doesn't like fighting at distances that are bigger than 250 meters, because the gun isn't that accurate. 0.38 accuracy is okay, but it's not great. You shouldn't do sniping in this, so fight at medium to close range, at best closer than 250 meters. And another very useful thing is, if you're fighting a tank that's bigger than you, like say a E75, or a tank that hasn't got very good elevation arc angles on the gun, you should try to really face hug them. So just drive up front to front with that tank, because then your enemy won't have any choice but to shoot at this turret, and it will definitely ricochet. So that's a very good idea to just, if you're in single combat with another tank that's bigger than you or has got bad gun depression, drive up close. If that tank has got a good gun depression though, like say it's an American tank, that's something you should try to avoid face hugging, because if it's got a good gun depression, it will be able to shoot down onto your lower glaciers, and that will decrease the effective sloping of it. Because if an enemy tank is just right here and it shoots down here in this angle, that definitely decreases the sloping. So just think twice before face hugging, but usually face hugging is a good idea in this thing. Another thing you should beware of is that you shouldn't angle the hull in this tank, or only angle it slightly, because you see you haven't got a pike nose. So if you could angle it like, say, like this. That's okay. But if you angle the hull anymore, then these cheeks get really, really vulnerable. So always try to face your enemy as like kind of head on, or with a slight angling, but not too much. Another very good idea is if you are on a map, like say Ruinberg, you should watch out for these kind of arty holes. So these kind of big holes in the ground, or depressions in the ground. If you drive in one of those, you can easily hide your hull and just let your turret peek out, and everybody's going to ricochet. You can do that behind hills and slopes and buildings, of course, as well. Always when you see a chance to hide your hull, use it, because that's just the best kind of tactic you can use in this tank. Hiding your hull is always a good idea, because your hull has only got 140mm and your turret has got 250mm. So if you can only let your turret peek out while hiding your hull, you've kind of won. Nobody can penetrate you, not even tier 10 tank destroyers. Another important advice in this tank is watch out for artillery, because artillery really loves this tank. If the artillery once picks onto you, it will never let you go, because this tank is slow, it's big, it isn't very maneuverable, so arty will love it. So try to keep behind buildings, or if you realise that the arty has got a crush on you, just try to retreat somewhere where you think you're in arty cover, because arty is really dangerous for this tank. Yeah, so that was more or less it. I hope I could help you along with the STI. I really enjoy this tank. I'm going to miss it, but I'll have to sell it to get the IS-4. I'm going to buy the IS-4 this afternoon. I'm really looking forward to it, and I'll probably be coming up with a review of the IS-4 soon. So just watch out for that, and I hope I'll see you on the battlefield or in the next video. Thanks for watching, and bye bye.